Okay, on this question, they want us to subtract the polynomial. So I've got this polynomial, subtract this other polynomial. Now, here's the deal. You guys remember, right? What does it mean what if there was a 2, like say in front of that parenthesis, right up against the parenthesis with no symbol in between? What does that mean? That would mean I'd have to multiply, distribute that 2, and I would get negative 20x squared and minus 12x and plus 8, right? I have to multiply that 2 times all 3 of those numbers. That's what we always do when there's a number right up against a parenthesis wall, right? You with me? That's not new. That's old. We've done that several times, right? So, okay, so keep that rule in mind because that rule is what we're going to do now. Now, that's different than if I had like a 2 and a plus. We would not distribute that 2 because it's not multiplied. Now it's just added, no big deal. But I'm talking about a number right up against the wall, like water up against a floodgate, right? Right up against the wall. That is going to multiply through, okay? Now, you know that's not a new rule. Now, what if there was a 2 right up against this parenthesis? Well, first off, it would be a negative 2 because there's also a negative. And that negative 2 would distribute, and I would get negative 18x squared plus, say, right, because negative 2 times negative 8 would be plus 16x, and negative 2 times plus x would be negative 12, right? That's what the negative 2 would do in that situation, but we don't have a negative 2 there, right? But why am I saying all that? Because what we do have is a negative sign. Really, what that means is a negative 1. Remember, when there's no number, it's 1, and it's negative. It's negative 1. That's what it really is. Or if the 1 bugs you, then don't worry about it. It's just negative. Same thing. That negative or negative 1, whatever, same thing, is going to distribute through just like anything does up against a parenthesis. That's not a new rule, is it? That's the same old rule we've been doing all along. Anytime a number or a symbol is right up against a parenthesis wall, then you distribute that number or symbol through those parentheses. It's really a negative 1. Probably that's the easiest way to look at it. And that negative 1 is going to distribute through. So we're going to get negative 9. And the walls are going to come down. Remember the analogy I've always been making? It's like something right up against the wall of a parenthesis. It's just like water up against a floodgate. What happens when you like a dam wall? What happens when you let the wall down? Right? If the wall suddenly crumbles in an earthquake or something, what's going to have? That water is going to rush on through. Well, that's what happens when I drop the parentheses. And whatever's right up against the parentheses floods on through and hits everything inside. So that'll become a plus 8x and a minus 6. Did you track with the signs there? Right? Because negative 1 times 9 is negative 9. Negative 1 times negative 8, 2 negatives make positive 8. And negative 1 times plus 6 makes minus 6. And the parentheses are gone. You drop them. Now, what about the first parenthesis? What's in front of him? Nothing. Nothing at all. And you might say, yeah, but can we just do a 1, Mr. Aaron? Yeah, you want to do 1, do 1. But it's not a negative 1, right? It's not a negative 1. It's not like this guy. There's no negative sign. You want to put a 1, great, do a 1. What will that do? It'll do nothing. It'll change nothing because 1 times anything is still itself, right? So you might as well just drop the parentheses and do nothing because that's the result. You with me? See how I dropped both those parentheses and now when I dropped the ones on the right, the water rushed in, changing all the signs. Now you might say, what if there's plus in the middle? Let me go back to this number 1 we did here. See how this had plus in the middle? Now you say, you didn't do anything there. You didn't do the distribution. Yeah, you're right, I didn't because I knew nothing was going to happen. Let me show you. If we had a plus 1, that you might say, well, can't you just make that a plus 1? Sure, make it a plus 1. Nothing will change. Watch. What's plus 1 times 8x squared? Well, 8x squared. What's plus 1 times minus 3x? Minus 3x. What's plus 1 times minus 8? Minus 8. See how nothing changes? So that's why we don't even bother to do it. When you have a plus in front of a parenthesis, should you distribute it through? Well, why bother? It's not going to change anything. positive multiplying doesn't change anything. So you might as well just ignore it. See how it came out exactly the same, these as they were before? That's why we totally just ignore it. It doesn't matter. But a negative in front is going to distribute through and change all three signs. All right. And now that we've done that, now we just combine like terms. Let me write that up here. So combine, well, that's step 2, huh? So step 1, distribute the negative through the parentheses. Step 2, combine like terms. So combine your like terms. What are our like terms? Well, minus 10x squared and minus 9. Now you might say, well, yeah, so you just deal with the signs that are in front of them. So what is a minus? So think about your bank account. What if you lost 10x squared and then lost 9x, right? Negative means lost. If you lost 10, you lost 9, what does that mean to your bank account? You lost 19x squared, right? Okay, now how about a minus 6x and a plus 8x? What if you lose 6x's and you gain back 8x's? Where's your bank account? Plus 2x's, right? And finally, plus 4 minus, if you gain $4 and lose $6, you've lost $2. And there we go. That's the answer. Those terms right there, that's the answer. So what do we do then? With a negative in front of a parenthesis, we have to distribute through the parentheses. And then we drop the parentheses. This line has no more parentheses. The walls came down, the water rushed in, and then just combine like terms. So there we go.